Welcome back to the Dutton Ranch, a generation before the Yellowstone we know. Today, we're recapping the epic and brutal first season of 1923. In a flash forward, 17 Cara Dutton hunts down a man for attacking the Dutton family and kills him in a standoff. In Africa, her nephew Spencer, a big game hunter for hire, shoots a rampaging lion, then travels to Nairobi where he is hired to kill a leopard in a safari camp. In Montana, Jacob Dutton and his men pause to observe the destruction of drought and locust over the grasslands before riding into Bozeman. Jacob presides over a meeting of the Montana Livestock Association, ruling against Scottish ranchers, led by Banner Creighton, who are trespassing on cattle ranches in order to feed their starving sheep. Back at the Yellowstone Ranch, young Jack Dutton is set to marry a neighbor, Elizabeth, but is called on to help run the cattle to higher ground, leaving Cara to smooth things over with the bride's family. In the hills, Jack encounters a herd of sheep and gets shot at. Meanwhile, at a Catholic-run Indian boarding school, Tiana Rainwater suffers physical and mental abuse at the hands of Sister Mary. She fights back, only to face the wrath of the headmaster Father Renaud and further repercussions from the nuns. Jacob and the Yellowstone Cowboys save Jack from the sheep herders. They hang 5 of them as justice for trespassing and for attacking Jack, although Banner manages to escape. Jacob orders the sheep to be driven down the mountainside and handed over to Native American riders to take to their struggling reservation. Tiana continues to stand up to abuse at the hands of Sister Mary. Her grandmother Isaacst visits the superintendent of government boarding schools, seeking Tiana's custody. Meanwhile in Kenya, after killing a pair of leopards, Spencer meets a British woman named Alexandra, and the two become smitten with each other. She leaves her fiancé and joins Spencer as he heads off on his next assignment in the Serengeti. Jacob and his nephews return to the ranch. Banner stumbles his way back home and gathers the sheep herders to plot revenge against the Duttons. Jacob goes to town and speaks to the sheriff about the herders, while his family observes the modern trappings that Yellowstone National Park is bringing to Bozeman. On their way back to the ranch the next day, they are ambushed by the herders. John is killed, and Jacob and Elizabeth are seriously wounded. Reinforcements arrive and kill the herders, but Banner and several others escape. As the doctor tends to Jacob, Cara writes a letter, at Jacob's request, begging Spencer to come home to defend his family's land. Meanwhile in Africa, Spencer asks Alexandra to marry him, then saves her from a charging elephant and a pride of lions. The fallout from the rifle ambush by the sheep farmers is severe. Jacob is bedridden, while Jack and Elizabeth face her mother's insistence that she move east. With so many of his allies dead, Banner meets with the mining magnate Donald Whitfield to gain support for his war against the Dutton family. Jacob counsels Cara to take over the ranch's affairs, but to leave the fighting for Spencer's return. Telling the group that Jacob has gone to Wyoming to hunt down cattle thieves, Cara represents him at a meeting of the Livestock Association and convinces the members to agree to Dutton's plan for a new police force. After incessant abuse from Sister Mary, Tiana finally kills her before fleeing the school. Spencer grows closer to his fiancée and receives Cara's letter that a range war is in progress. The Dutton ranch settles into a melancholy routine, and John's widow Emma takes her own life. In Africa, Spencer and his fiancée Alex begin the long journey to Montana. In Mombasa, hearing that travel by ocean liner would take months, Spencer signs on as a deckhand on a local tugboat that will get him to the Suez Canal, where he will arrange onward passage to America. Alerted that sisters Mary and Alice have been murdered, Father Renaud brutally interrogates Bapauxte, then sends 3 priests after her cousin Tiana. In the Badlands, Tiana fends off a wolf, then encounters a crow shepherd Hank who offers to help her. Meanwhile, Banner attaches his fortunes to Whitfield's gold mining plans as the cattle business declines. Having missed their wedding, Jack and Elizabeth say their vows alone on a hillside. Later, Elizabeth reveals she is pregnant. Jacob slowly recovers from his wounds. Meanwhile, Alex insists on joining Spencer. On the way to the Suez Canal, their tugboat is struck by an abandoned French cargo ship and capsizes. Spencer and Alex barely survive the tugboat capsizing in shark-infested waters and are eventually rescued by the SS Lambridge, which would take them to Marseille. Its captain agrees to marry them in international waters, offering his wife's ring for the ceremony. Back in Montana, Cara and Sheriff McDowell begin the process of hiring livestock agents. When Cara reluctantly admits that Jacob is alive and on the Dutton ranch, the sheriff visits and warns Jacob that he'll get to the bottom of the herder killings. Jacob's desire for revenge is overtaken by his realization of the mining magnate's intentions to squeeze the Duttons out, and he vows to stop the encroachment. Marshals raid Isaac's home, killing her while searching for Tiana. Meanwhile, Hank gives Tiana male clothing and the name Joe, and burns her possessions from the school. Jacob, Jack, and the ranch's posse go with Sheriff McDowell to arrest Banner at the luxurious home given to him by Whitfield. Surprised to see that Jacob is still alive, Banner promises that their war is not over. One of the recently hired livestock agents informs Whitfield about the situation, who then sends his lawyer to help Banner. Runs his horse, Tiana's father, finds Isaac dead in her cabin. As he finds the attacker's tracks, Hank's son Pete arrives to inform him that Tiana is in hiding in the Badlands. They end up in a bloody encounter with the priest sent to retrieve her. Two of the priests find Tiana, and Hank saves her, but he is killed. Meanwhile, Spencer and Alex find themselves in Sicily, where they unexpectedly encounter Alex's former fiancée. After the priests do not return, Father Renaud and Marshal Kent search for Tiana. Runs his horse and Pete Plentyclouds find Tiana and take her south with them. Banner is released without bail, and he and Jacob again threaten each other. Alice, the wife of Dutton ranch foreman Zane, is arrested for miscegenation, and Zane is beaten by police. Meanwhile, Spencer and Alex board the SS Majestic bound for London. Alex's former fiancé Arthur challenges Spencer to a duel, which Spencer wins. However, Arthur attacks him, and Spencer throws Arthur overboard in self-defense. Although Spencer is not charged, Arthur's father, the Earl of Sussex, orders the captain to remove him from the vessel at the nearest port. Back at the Dutton ranch, Whitfield arrives to announce that he has paid their property tax, and if they cannot pay him back by the end of the year, the deed for the land will default into his possession. Elizabeth suffers a miscarriage. Alex learns her parents have arranged for her to return to London and that she cannot leave the ship. Seeing Spencer taken away, she declares she will find him in Bozeman, Montana. That's it for our recap of 1923 Season 1. What did you think of the Dutton struggles and the historical backdrop? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more recaps and breakdowns, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. Thanks for watching.